It's been 15 years since I last visited PortAventura World, however the 2023 edition of the Enchanted roller coaster, the itch to finally ride Shambhala and Red Force, and some great prices on a last minute deal finally got me on a long overdue flight to Spain. In this episode I'll break down how I put this trip together for just £155 per person, with some hints and advice along the way to help you plan your own PortAventura adventure. I'll also cover how we found staying on site for the first time at Hotel PortAventura and the surprise of a completely empty park with Walk on Dragon Khan and Red Force. Hey, this is Stu for Out and Back Travel. I make videos like this one to help inspire your own theme park travel adventures. If you find this video helpful, please drop the video a like, as that really helps me out on YouTube. I bagged myself a cheeky last minute deal to PortAventura in December 2023. In this trip report episode, I'm going to cover the nuts and bolts of how I put the trip together, giving some tips along the way for planning your own trip, and also cover how we found the parks and official hotel. So I've broken this video down into 5 sections. Coming up, we're going to cover should you visit in the winter and the tips and tricks to avoid the crowds, being prepared for some reduced operations and winter closures and staggered openings, is it worth staying at the on-site hotels, how we got there with tips for short duration trips and also car rental, and finally I'll cover the experiences of the 2 parks. So first up then, should I go in the winter? PortAventura World is a great resort to visit in the winter months due to the pleasant Mediterranean climate, especially when you compare it to the theme parks that open for winter in Central and Northern Europe, where you may face snowy cold conditions that halt ride operations. That risk is dramatically reduced by selecting PortAventura World with its sunny winter climate. If you are thinking about visiting PortAventura World in December, 2 dates to avoid are the 6th of December and the 8th of December. These are public holidays in Spain and PortAventura will be very busy around these dates, so really suggest avoiding this week if you can. It seems from our visit on the 17th and 18th of December that the period between this holiday and the Christmas holiday is a sweet spot in the middle. On the PortAventura World website, if you look at the opening times page, they show their expected crowd levels. The dates we selected were a medium Sunday and a low Monday, so you get nice lower crowd levels, but you may have to compromise on our second point, which is reduced operations. If you are visiting a year-round theme park in a low season, it's understandable that you won't have a full roster of attractions available, as the parks do need to complete some maintenance. Therefore, before booking a trip, it's important to check what rides are scheduled for maintenance, and if it's a deal breaker, then plan to visit the park in the peak summer period to get that maximum availability of attractions. Ferrari Land only operates on weekends and the week of Christmas in December, so if you went for a midweek trip, you'd miss this park entirely. This is why the Sunday-Monday combination worked for ourselves. Most of the water rides were closed for our visit, which is understandable in the winter, and some rides only open for the weekend only. For example, the Rapids and some of the flat rides like Yucatan, which were open on the Sunday and closed on the Monday. We also had staggered opening hours, which affected the Monday more than the Sunday. For example, Stampeder opened at midday on the Monday. You can select the opening hours on the ride's website page to check if it will be available during your trip and if there's reduced hours or not. In addition to this, the entertainment schedule was also reduced on the Monday. Again, you can click through the shows page on the website to see what days and times the shows are running. For example, the Bubble Magic show is only operating at the weekends. And the availability of the food outlets was extremely limited on the Monday, which did take us a little by surprise, but thank goodness for that wedges stand underneath Hurricane Condor. Is it worthwhile staying on site? A big reason to get me to book PortAventura was the incredible deal by booking direct. A quick look ahead, you can easily see the best available price on the calendar. Here we see a break in early March for €96 for 2 people, room only, and if you click through you can upgrade the package to include bed and breakfast, half or full board, which I definitely think is worth considering, especially if you're going to really spend long days in the park. As we left Ferryland at 10 PM, we did end up eating at the hotel's buffet restaurant, so I think next time I would book the half board option and save a couple of extra euros, or that half an hour walk into Salou at that time of evening. Usually the official hotel package does include unlimited access into PortAventura Park. That's the day you check in until the day you check out, and one admission to Ferryland. You can save a lot of time by checking in online ahead of your arrival. Then when you arrive at the hotel reception, they have a designated line for people that have checked in online, and they'll have your room key waiting for you. Your room key is your ticket to the parks, and they will text you the room number when it's ready. So you can arrive early for park opening. Even if check-in isn't officially until 3 PM, you are most welcome to arrive at the hotel in the morning, collect your room key, which is your park ticket, and head into the parks until your room is ready. Just a couple of other points on check-in. There are self-service machines in the lobby. Essentially, you have to type in the contact information and scan a photo ID for each adult in the room, and this could be quite time-consuming. Initially, we went to these as we didn't realise it was duplicating the online check-in process, but it was much easier to check in online than use the machines, especially as you're doing it from the comfort of home and you're not using up any time that you could be in the park. There is a €2.64 resort fee per night, which is taken at time of check-in. The PortAventura hotels do offer free car parking, which is also a great perk, as we've taken a car to get from Barcelona airport, and there's even ample charging points for electric vehicles, which was great to see. These were a 7 kilowatt trickle charge, which is great for leaving your car overnight while you're sleeping in the hotel. We stayed at the gorgeous Hotel PortAventura. It's really reminded us of Portofino Bay and the Hard Rock hotels, a loving throwback to the time that Universal first owned PortAventura Resort and developed these hotels. The room felt very spacious and we had a great night's sleep. Two of the hotels, so Hotel PortAventura and the Gold River Hotel, have their own entrances directly into the PortAventura theme park, which is another great convenience for staying in these particular on-site hotels, although the other options are not far away at all. So how did we get there then? If you're flying into PortAventura, Rial's is the closest airport, literally 15 minutes away. However, it is quite seasonal, with most of the flights operating in the summer months for the beach holidays in Salou. Therefore, we flew to Barcelona, which is just over an hour away. I used Skyscanner to find the best available flights. Manchester is a closer airport to us than the London ones, so for us in the north of England it is sometimes a little more prudent to spend a little extra on the flights than to add in the cost and time of travelling down to London for a quick Sunday-Monday 2-day trip, looking at future dates in March 2024 to try and recreate how I booked our flights. While £46 is a lovely price, it's not much use when the flight arrives after 6 PM and returns before midday the next day. So I'm going to slide the departure times filter on the left of the screen so I can get an early arriving flight and a late departing flight, effectively maximising the 2 available days at PortAventura World. This required a multi-airline booking, Jet2 on the outward leg and RyanAir on the return leg. As this requires 2 separate bookings, I would strongly advise booking the cheapest flight first. That way, if in the 5 minutes it takes you to complete the booking and the other flight price increases, you've lost the least amount of money. It was a bit stressful, I'm not going to lie. As it was only a 1-night break, we didn't need to pay for any baggage upgrades. The RyanAir baggage policy is that all tickets include one small personal bag, which must be no bigger than 40 by 20 by 25 centimetres and fits underneath the seat in front of you. Of course, they are very strict at enforcing this, so if you do feel you will need that extra luggage, definitely pay in advance when booking your seat, as that will be the cheapest time to do this. The upsells we opted for were seat selection, so we could guarantee we were sitting together. This cost us £10 per person for Jet2 and £8 per person for the RyanAir flight. Arriving in Barcelona, we opted for a rental car to maximise our available time at the parks. You can reach the parks on public transport. There's shuttle buses and you can take the train, and there's information on all of this on the official website with even links to booking a place on the shuttle bus. We used Niza cars, which picked us up in a shuttle bus from outside the terminal and we were taken 5 minutes to the rental depot. The staff were lovely and friendly, however they were doing quite a hard upsell into an excess waiving insurance for an additional €40. We opted against this and they placed a scary €1,600 hold on our credit card. When hiring a rental car, I would recommend before you set off, taking photos of each side of the car and doing a video all around the car. That way you can't be blamed for any existing scratches or damage to the vehicle. We have our own travel insurance that covers the car rental breakdown, accident and damage, so if something were to happen, we'd have to fork up the excess and then claim it back for insurance, but always ensure you have some protection, even if you take your own and not the rental company's own option. Also, it's probably worth taking a photo of the mileage if you have a limited mileage allowance with your rental, and the fuel gauge, as most rentals are collect and drop off the vehicle with the same amount of fuel. That way you've got a backup if they try and charge you any fees. Rental car companies work a lot like the low-cost airlines. They make their money by charging for additional services and fees, so you've got to cover your ass, otherwise we'll often try to take advantage. The drive to PortAventura was lovely, especially with the sunshine as we drove along the coast and through the mountains. It's quite an easy drive, like I say, just over the hour. You can take a toll road which saves an additional 20 minutes of journey time, and it cost us approximately €11 in tolls. When we returned the car, there was a lovely friendly staff member on hand who checked the vehicle with us for any damage, and we got a reassuring thumbs up, all good sign off before being dropped back at the airport. Again, I always take photos and video around the car and clean the fuel gauge before returning as a backup for yourselves in case they do query anything. The car gave us the best possible flexibility of maximising our short 2-day trip, so I'd definitely consider it again. So in adding up all the components that made this trip, we travelled on Sunday the 17th of December and returned on Monday the 18th of December 2023. The first flight with Jet2 from Manchester to Barcelona cost us £53, including seat selection. The RyanAir flight from Barcelona back to Manchester cost us £22.50, including seat selection. The car rental was £14. The PortAventura hotel bed and breakfast and ticket package was £65.50. So that was a total of £155 per person based on 2 sharing. I feel this was exceptional value for money all round and we had an amazing time. So what was our experience like at PortAventura World? So in the winter months, PortAventura World, it was opening at 10:30 AM, which is a lovely, nice, relaxing start to a theme park morning. It's so good to have a lie-in. Park closed at 6 PM with an evening parade and lagoon show running until about 6:30. Ferrari Land was open on the Sunday from 4 PM until 10 PM. We arrived at PortAventura Park about 1:30 PM on the Sunday and were greeted by lovely low queue times. For example, the queue board said it would be 30 minutes for Furious Baquet, but we actually found the cattle pen queue line was empty and it was a 1 train wait. Next up, I got a customary yard of beer, which is a law when you're at PortAventura and don't have to drive a car for the rest of the day, and joined the 50-minute wait for Uncharted, which is not bad at all for a brand new roller coaster, and of course I had my queue beer for company as a bonus. At this point the queues started to quieten down already. You can see Uncharted was 50 minutes, Street Mission 20 minutes, Shambhala, Stampede, Baco 10 minutes, and Dragon Khan is 0 minutes. PortAventura has such a reputation for having long queues and the need to buy express pass to manage a day at the park, so this is quite a shock to see the amount of coasters nearly walk on. Here's us walking on to Dragon Khan. Are we walking on? I think we're walking on. My goodness guys, Dragon Khan walk on, let's go. We were also able to meet the characters like Shrek and Chilly Willy with absolutely no wait. So as the sun started to set on Sunday, some lovely golden hour shots of the rapids here. The parade was definitely a crowd squeeze as it blocked off the walkway. However, when it finished, we were able to kind of easily get a spot to watch the night lagoon show, which features water screens, floats and fireworks. And then we headed into Ferrari Land for our first ever visit. The crowds were heavy as the PortAventura Park closed, but as the night grew on, these got much shorter and much more manageable. We waited 50 minutes for our first go of Red Force and we managed to snag a front row ride, so it meant we got the goggles. So exciting. Really enjoyed Red Force. I completely underestimated how much this ride would kick ass. I'm really excited for the new Top 4 dragster now. Just to note that at PortAventura World you don't get to choose your row for the roller coaster, and you're always allocated a row, so there's no waiting or requests. So when you get a front or back row, it is always an amazing occasion. We were then able to get 6 walk-on rides in the last 40 minutes of the park being open. You do have to walk around and re-enter the queue each time, which is slightly understandable when you're going 111 miles an hour and 360 foot in the air. I'll let them off with that. The Monday saw a few more closed attractions and staggered openings, like say Stampede open from 12, however it didn't really affect our enjoyment of the park or the day. They were running a 2-train service on the Sunday, the medium down the crowd calendar, and down to 1 train on Shambhala, Dragon Con and Stampede on the Monday, the low day on the crowd calendar, which is completely understandable. But we still had only a 2-train wait for Shambhala. Still no queue for Baco, and we're still walking onto Dragon Con. Although the entertainment was reduced on the Sunday compared to the Monday, we were still able to catch this amazing Christmas show with the wacky antics of Santa. The Navidad entertainment and decorations around the park always add a nice alternative to visiting in the main season. PortAventura World also does a fantastic Halloween event too, so that's also a great time of year to visit. We left the park around 20 minutes before the parade started so we could be sure we would get out ahead of the crowd squeeze. All in all, we had a great visit to PortAventura World. Like I say, it was long overdue after 15 years from our last one. It was so fantastic to get back, and we really enjoyed our first time of staying at an official on-site hotel. I don't think it'll be that long before we return to PortAventura, as I've really got that bug and need to return as soon as possible, especially as the resort offers such great value for money. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you're thinking of a trip to PortAventura World, let me know in the comments when you're going, how you planned it. Let me know the details below. I love geeking out about these things. And if you've been to PortAventura World, how were the crowd levels? It'd be great to know if there's any more of these secret super low periods of the year where you don't need the express pass. Thank you for watching, and remember, until next time, stay safe on the way out and back.